Adonis Creed is heavyweight champion of the world. To defend his title, he accepts a challenge from someone with a very close connection to Creed, Victor Drago, the son of Ivan Drago, the man who killed Creed's father Apollo in the ring. Ivan is coaching his son and is determined to win the belt that Rocky took from him. Victor Drago is unstoppable and Creed's odds against him are slim. Ivan Drago, Dolph Lundgren, a former foe of Rocky Balboa, wakes up his son Victor, Florian Munteanu, to begin training. Later, they attend a boxing match where Victor squares off against a man. Victor dominates and eliminates his opponent with his enormous size and strength. A promoter named Buddy Marcel is observing them from the audience. While in the United States, Adonis Donnie Creed, Michael B. Jordan, who lost by default to Pretty Ricky Conlon 3 years ago, has since managed to win 7 straight matches. He will compete in a championship match against Danny Stuntman Wheeler, Andre Ward. Rocky speaks with Donnie briefly and reminds him that his only motivation in battle should be himself. Just before the match, he receives a visit from his girlfriend Bianca, Tessa Thompson. Donnie enters the ring and engages Wheeler in combat, defeating him and winning the WBC World Heavyweight Championship in the process. Donnie goes up to Rocky Balboa, Sylvester Stallone, after the fight with an engagement ring that he wants to give to Bianca but isn't sure how to say it. Rocky responds that what he said to Adrian when he proposed was something stupid but served as a way for him to express how much he needed and loved her. He advises Donnie to speak from his heart. Donnie tries to pop the question to Bianca that evening after she exits the shower, but because her hearing aid wasn't in tune, she didn't hear him and instead saw him down on one knee with the ring. Initially overwhelmed and unsure of what to think, Bianca finally accepts Donnie's proposal after hearing him explain how much she means to him. Rocky talks to Adrian at her grave. He says he hasn't spoken to their son Robert in years because he moved away from Philadelphia, and he hasn't even met his grandson yet. In Philly, the Dragos arrive with Buddy's support. Ivan makes his first trip to Rocky's restaurant in over 30 years to confront his adversary. Ivan explains to Rocky how much money he lost when Rocky defeated him in the past. Donnie and Bianca see a news report about Victor challenging Donnie for the championship. Victor's father killed Donnie's father, and the news media never fails to mention this. Buddy approaches Donnie at one of Bianca's concerts to essentially provoke him into fighting Victor. Donnie then visits Rocky to discuss the fight. Rocky doesn't want to see history repeat itself because he knows all too well how it went for Apollo when he fought Ivan. He detests the fact that Donnie entered this fight solely out of rage and hatred. He tries to persuade Donnie to change his mind about fighting Victor, but Donnie is adamant about doing so. Rocky makes the decision to abstain from the fight and declines to prepare Donnie. Later, after settling into their new Los Angeles apartment, Donnie and Bianca visit Mary Ann, Felicia Rashad, to try and inform her of the altercation. Mary Ann immediately assumes that they have come to share the news that Bianca is expecting when Donnie tries to broach the subject. The couple laughs it off, but Bianca goes to get a pregnancy test, which shows she is indeed pregnant. Donnie then goes to inform Mary Ann of the altercation. She obviously isn't happy to hear that Donnie wants to fight, but she agrees to let him as long as he doesn't explain why he's doing it to her or. Donnie seeks out Tony Little Duke Evers, the son of the person who trained Apollo, played by Wood Harris. He requests that Tony train him for the upcoming contest, and Tony agrees. Ivan says something about Apollo before the match that almost makes Donnie lose his cool. Victor is hit by a few good head shots from Donnie during the fight, but Victor quickly gathers himself and responds with some strong shots of his own. Rocky sits alone in his restaurant and watches the fight. Victor strikes Donnie in the ribs several times, eventually breaking them. He then knocks Donnie out with an unlawful headshot after landing another vicious shot to the ribs that causes him to fall to the ground. Everyone is concerned as Donnie's immediate health status is unknown as Victor is disqualified for the headshot. Donnie makes it through the struggle and spends some time healing, but his spirit is crushed. Rocky attempts to visit him in the hospital but realizes right away that he is not wanted, so he departs. Bianca observes how distant Donnie is becoming from everyone, especially her, over the ensuing weeks. Later, Little Duke approaches Donnie to inform him that Victor wants a rematch because he still considers Donnie to be the champion. Additionally, he warns him that even if he decides not to fight Victor, he must still choose a challenger quickly or risk losing the title. Donnie seems uninterested and walks away without responding. On the back of a sonogram image of the unborn child, Mary Ann writes a message to Rocky informing him that Donnie needs him. Rocky visits Los Angeles and shocks Donnie at his mother's residence. After exchanging a few jabs, the two reconcile. The Drago family is celebrating Victor's success in Russia when Ivan's ex-wife and Victor's mother Ludmila, Brigitte Nielsen, unexpectedly shows up with her new husband. Ivan follows Victor as he exits infuriated and insists that these people are there for them. After some time, Bianca gives birth to a girl they name Amara. The doctors then examine Amara to determine if she shares her mother's hearing issue. Professionals are shocked to learn that Amara is deaf from birth. Rocky tries to call Robert outside, but he then abandons the plan. Soon after Amara is born, Bianca gives Adonis the baby for one night before returning. When the baby begins to cry, Donnie is helpless to stop it. He takes the infant for a ride after getting some inspiration, and the trip takes them to the gym. When the baby notices her father punching the punching bag, she stops crying and even grinned at him. Donnie is motivated by this, and he later has an important conversation with Bianca about facing Victor again. Donnie agrees, but Bianca makes him promise that he will return to his family. She then advises him to triumph. When Adonis and Little Duke meet to discuss the specifics, Rocky is asked if he will train Adonis this time. Rocky concurs and instructs Little Duke to make it official by calling the WBC. Rocky decides to rekindle Donnie's spirit and acclimate him to hellish conditions by taking him to a remote location in the middle of the desert where all of the gym equipment is made of rugged materials. They put a lot of emphasis on developing strength and engaging in close combat. Ivan, meanwhile, subjected Victor to harsher and more challenging training sessions. The second match's night arrives and is held in Moscow. As Donnie enters the arena, the Russian crowd immediately starts to jeer him, but Rocky, Bianca, and Marianne are there to cheer him on. Donnie dominates the opening round of the match to make it abundantly clear that this fight will not be like the last one. Victor, however, quickly gathers himself in the second round and overtakes Donnie with several body shots to the ribs, while Ivan advises Victor to simply break Donnie again. Donnie soon begins to deliver more potent blows, even managing to knock Victor to the ground twice. When it seems as though Donnie is about to win, Ludmilla and her husband leave. Ivan and Victor notice, and Victor seems to lose his motivation to continue fighting. Donnie begins to pound Ivan with more blows until Ivan can no longer take it and quits, giving Donnie the victory and keeping the title. Ivan goes to his son, who dismisses him because he believes he will only punish him for the loss. However, Ivan embraces Victor. "It's your time now," Rocky tells Adonis in the opposite corner before turning around and walking away. Rocky eventually makes his way to Chicago to see Robert, Milo Ventimiglia, where he meets Logan, Robert's son. Logan's grandfather is welcomed inside after Robert introduces him to Logan. Rocky hugs his child. Donnie and Bianca travel to Apollo's grave in the film's concluding scene. Now that he is forming his own identity, he finds peace with his father's name and legacy. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.